So Sark speaks out at the SEC Media Day. He had a lot to say. Unlike most coaches, he talked about his own team. We really didn't hear many comments about the SEC overall or anything like that. So here's some notes for you guys. Derek Williams is staying at safety. There's no move to start in the works. He is a safety. That's what Sark said. Sark declined to say if Gilbo would stick at corner and move back to nickel full time. So to me, without answering that question, that's kind of like pleading the fifth. He does not know at this point. Like, he could slide back outside, or he could slide outside, stay there. He could go back inside. We'll have to see. Sark, he also said the linebacker was probably the biggest position he was most excited about because Leongo Lafau, Brad Spence, Ty Anthony Smith, Trey Moore, and Bo Barnes have been playing very well through the spring. Mentioned that the O-line is inexperienced, but there are guys there who have come up through the ranks and paid their dues and played very well. He also talked about the Matthew Caldwell situation. If you don't know that, he's the quarterback that transferred from Troy. He's basically going to be our fourth string quarterback. He might be third. I don't know, but he's either going to be third or fourth. He said, we've lost a QB for some time to injury every year. I've been at Texas. Said he wants to make sure whoever takes snaps at QB for whatever reason is ready to go and up for the task. And then he talks about the portal. You know, every coach that I saw, and I completely agree with this, said, we want one portal window. We want it in January, and then it's done. So, you know, or before January, and then going into January, you know what your team is. And I completely agree with that. That gives you basically 6 to 7 months to do what you need to do with your football team. So Gerald, what did you take away from Sark's comments, and what stood out to you the most?
Yeah, there was a lot. Also, you did mention there that he also pushed back on the $40 million roster idea, which is something that was pretty interesting because, you know what? If Sark has not been shy about Texas doing what it needs to do on that front. And so the fact that he's like, nope, that's not an accurate number. Now, could it be 38 million? That's another conversation. But ultimately, I think him calling that out is pretty interesting. I think the things that really jumped out to me the most were when he talked about the inexperience at offensive line, he also mentioned that, like, there were other priorities in the portal. Like, we didn't feel like we needed to go to the portal to upgrade the offensive line, which to me is a really good sign. The way that Texas has targeted the portal in the past, right? It's been like, hey, we know there's a fire here. We know we need bodies here. They've been aggressive when they don't like what they have in that group, and they weren't at the offensive line. We talked about it before, and he specifically called it out. Like, there were other priorities in the portal we didn't feel like we needed to add at the offensive line. That, to me, makes me feel a little more confident. I didn't have a lack of confidence in the OL, but I did. Like, they're young, they're inexperienced, they've never played together as a unit. All those things kind of spark in the back of my head. Shout out to our Ohio State fans. You guys are going to show us early in the season whether this team and this offensive line unit will be really good. That's my biggest concern coming into this, and I'm still, having nightmares about it. But ultimately, that's a thing that jumped out to me. The other thing, really, the linebackers. I think we knew that this unit was going to be really good. We knew that they're going to be strong, especially, you have Anthony Hill and Leongo Lafau at 1 and 2. You're going to be solid, but the fact that they're so deep at that position really excites me. Trey Moore, I guess, official. This is the official announcement that he's a linebacker because he was on that list, right? We didn't know he was listed with the linebackers, but what was he going to be doing? So officially at a linebacker position now, but that group being that deep is good because, ultimately that's a position that's a linchpin for Texas and the way that Pete Kwiatkowski likes to run his defense.
No, I agree. And I think Trey Moore and Brad Spence will be tweeners. Like, I think you'll see them line up at edge sometimes, line up at linebacker. But I agree. We've talked about, or I've especially talked about this, but you have as well, Gerald. We love versatility on this defense. So to have guys that can line up all over the field, I think that helps us out, obviously. And I agree. I think this is the deepest the linebacker group has been in my lifetime, honestly. Like, it's been super deep. Like, Bo Barnes is your 6th or 7th string linebacker. That's pretty damn good. I mean, there's a time where if he was our 3rd, I would have been okay with it, but he's like our 5th or 6th or 7th guy now. So I expect
4 years ago, he might have been the best linebacker on the team.
Yeah, that is true. Ty Anthony Smith, I expect to have a really good year. Like, when he played, he was pretty good. He just needed to beef up. He's running around at 200 pounds. That's not ideal for a linebacker. Now he's up to like 215. He still needs to beef up a little bit more, but 215 is good enough, especially in pass coverage, which I will say is our weakest part. Like, Leongo Lafau's not great at it. Anthony Hill needs to work on it, but maybe this guy is the guy that we use kind of in that Maurice Blackwell role, like where we use him to cover the running back out of the backfield or the tight end or a slot receiver in certain instances. So I really like that group. And I agree with you, left guard to me is the biggest question mark on the offensive line. Is Neto going to be ready? We'll have to see about that. And it's going to be very interesting to see. because I'm confident left tackle. I think Trevor Gooseby is going to be really good. I think Cole Hudson at center is going to be good. I think DJ Campbell at right guard is going to be good. I think Brandon Baker at right tackle is going to be good, because if they're already talking about Nick Brooks as a future first-round pick and that guy's listed above him, that tells me something right there. So really just down to the left guard. And the good thing about Ohio State is, if you ask their fans, their biggest weakness right now in question mark is their interior of the offensive line. So if he is a weakness and they're a weakness, it kind of cancels each other out, because I think we're pretty good at the edge positions at the tackle, like I said. So I think it's very interesting. And I'm glad you hit on that $40 million thing, because that was BS. Like, I try to tell people, no offense, Kirk Bowles, but he's wrong all the damn time. Him and Chip Brown don't know what the hell they're talking about most of the times. They put things out that are clickbait. That got a lot of clicks, moved around. It went everywhere. And I could tell you it wasn't $40 million, because guess what? We're not going to increase our roster spending $15 million in 1 year. You're not going to increase something by 50 to 60% in 1 year. That's just not going to happen. In 2 to 3 years, going to be $40 million? Yeah, probably. Honestly, probably will be. But right now, I think you're probably looking at $30 to $33 million. And that's accounting for the boosters. I'm not counting Arch Manning in that with his Red Bull, Viore, Uber, because guess what? That's what true NIL is. That's a definition. If you can go out and get your own money, I really don't care. I agree. There probably should be a cap on what boosters can do. I would have no issue with that, but you can't throw in Arch Manning's money into that when he's probably making $6 to $8 million, honestly, from all those deals. That's true NIL money.
Yeah, I mean that's the caveat, right? I think some of those numbers are probably inflated because of what they're getting from the NCAA football games, right? What they're getting from the group marketing that they're doing by selling the jerseys with the names on it. So I would be curious to see what the math is without those pulled out, right? You mentioned Arch with all of the endorsements that he's doing now, right? Whether it's the baseball the baseball cards, or whether it's Red Bull or whatever, he's doing some other apparel thing, I don't know, whatever it is. But like all of those things are probably accounted in there, and I don't necessarily think that should count, right? You're going to count Jordan Whittington's teeth bleaching Instagram post that he made from 4 years ago, right? Did that count in the NIL valuation for that team? I don't think so. So we've got to be a little more honest about those numbers. But it's off season, it's talking season. We're going to see more of this crap come out.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's it doesn't get real until we have actual media days where coaches get to go up on the podium and everything. Obviously, we'll be here to break that down as well. And honestly, I really like that. What I like that, because Sark is honest. Like, Sark will tell you, hey, we're not really great here. We're not, we need to work on this, this, and this. Whereas last year he said this might be my most talented team at Texas. I was like, that kind of, sparked something in me of like, oh, this team's going to be really good. Because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't as high on last year's team as I was the previous year's team. And when he said that, I was like, you know what? He's honest. He really hasn't lied while he's been here. I'll believe him. And what do you know? They went 11-1. So it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what he has to say about this team. Will he say that again? This is my most talented team. We'll have to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent. I think it's unproven. I would imagine Sark's going to be pretty guarded with his praise of this team, because I think we've talked about it before. There's a really big delta between the floor and the ceiling for this unit. So I think may not be as effusive with his praise as he's been in the past.
No, that's very true. Again, guys, can you please hit that like button? Please subscribe down below.